most dangerous person in the world is this guy? Yeah, how about that? But you ready for more irony? Who is in the greatest danger from him? Iran, Ukraine, Russia, China? Nope, it's us.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah, that proud to be an American shit no longer has legs. In 5 months, Trump has put the U.S. in the crosshairs of every radical in the world, from Minnesota.
Speaker Melissa and her husband Mark were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination.
They don't know abortion is wrong, many churches, especially in America.
Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter.
And the suspect reportedly had a long hit list. So I want to ask you, do you feel safe?
Very fine people on both sides.
To some 15-year-old Persian kid who just had his family blown up and will be scooped up by who knows how many terror cells, all because Trump wants to seem tougher than Israel. Now Trump is pretending to be the great thinker, saying he'll think on it for 2 weeks.
Within the next 2 weeks, that's when the White House says President Trump will make a decision on whether the U.S. should join Israel in its military operations against Iran. The 14-day clock counting down now as diplomatic attempts to stave off a wider war are kicking into gear. Now, if the 2 weeks' notice sounds familiar, it's because he's pushed off decisions like this several times before.
I would say over the next 2 or 3 weeks that will be phenomenal in terms of tax. I will make that decision, I would say, over the next 2 weeks, probably right after the G20. I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks.
In his second go-round, he recently gave Vladimir Putin 2 weeks to prove he was serious about ending the Ukraine war. That deadline has come and gone. And just last week, he said he'd be sending letters regarding new tariff rates to several countries in 2 weeks. So the clock's still ticking on that one.
Here's the thing about the Middle East. The shit is 2,000 years old. It's so old, even Mitch McConnell can't remember how it started. I swear to God, if you showed Trump a globe and said, point to the Middle East, it'd be like asking J.D. Vance to find his dick.
A bunch of childless cat ladies.
But here's the problem. Trump has dozens of business interests there, and every move he makes will be about how it affects not the U.S. or the world, but him. I mean,
Nobody can do it like me. Nobody.
he is a sociopath.
President Trump has said previously in regard to Russia, he's used this phrase about 2 weeks several times in terms of like, we expect like a 2-week deadline and then you give another 2-week deadline. How can we be sure that he's going to stick to this one on making a decision on Iran?
Well, in those deadlines, as you've seen in respect to Russia, Ukraine, might I add, these are two very different, complicated global conflicts, as you know, that the president inherited from our previous incompetent president in the weakness of the previous administration. And the president has spent a tremendous amount of time and effort cleaning up these crises that were caused by the last administration's just complete dereliction of duty on the world stage and American weakness. Now we have American strength again. With respect to Russia and Ukraine, because of that American strength, and the president's leadership, we have seen these two sides engage in direct negotiations. And the last time the president said 2 weeks, you saw Russia and Ukraine have direct negotiations for the first time in years. And so the president is always interested in a diplomatic solution to the problems and the global conflicts in this world. Again, he is a peacemaker in chief. He is the peace through strength president. And so if there's a chance for diplomacy, the president's always going to grab it. But he's not afraid to use strength as well, I will add.
Oh my God, she drank all of the Kool-Aid, every drop. Forgetting, of course, that Tiny Fingers promised to end the Ukraine-Russian war in a day, that he has a tight alliance with Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's giving him money while bin Salman is telling Iran they'll protect them from Israel.
The U.S. has officially accepted this. It's a Boeing 747 jet from Qatar.
While they sponsor terror groups. If that's leadership, Huckabee Sanders is a runway model. The whole world sees Trump for what he is. A weak, fat sociopath who wears orange makeup, has his hair made up daily, wears elevator lifts in his shoes. Remember the so-called assassination attempt? The first thing he said is, where are my shoes? He's a fucking train wreck, and we're the passengers. So will he bomb Iran, and who's advising him?
It's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are.
I did not.
Of course you are. And rather than be honorable enough to say it right to my face, you are in a sleazy, feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm not asking questions about the Jews. I have There's nothing to do with Jews or Judaism. It has to do with the foreign government.
Isn't Israel controlling our foreign policy? That's not about the Jews?
You said, I'm asking you...
And by the way, you're the one that just called me, I think, a sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
It's sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite, which you just did.
No, I just said, why is that the only question you're asking? You answer it. Give me another reason.
That is an indication of how fucked up MAGA is. When Dairy Queen says Trump is wrong, you know the train is off the tracks. But here's a question that Tulsi Gabbard posed. What if Iran wasn't close to having a nuke? What if the group that replaces this president, Khomeini, is more radical than the current group? And why are all these guys named Khomeini? Is that like a George Foreman kind of thing?
However, all of your sons are famously named George, and all our viewers definitely want to know why.
Well,
if Trump decides to allow U.S. planes to drop these bombs on Iran, it doesn't solve a thing. I mean, we went through this back in 1979 with Iran after we backed the Shah, who terrorized the country for decades, and then they turned on us. And if you don't think Iran and other fundamentalist groups will look to terrorize us if we start bombing there, you're naive, to say the least. I mean, look what the U.S. did after 9/11. We started a war against another country and killed 1 million Iraqis who had nothing to do with it. And remember those WMDs that never existed? What if Tulsi Gabbard is right? And then, of course, there's this.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
He's the head of the FBI, this guy.
Oh, hell no!
Since 9/11, we haven't been attacked because of our intelligence agencies like the FBI. They've thwarted numerous plots because they're really good at that. Now this mutt is gutting the FBI from within and attacking or firing anyone who was involved in the January 6th investigation, you know, where they stormed the Capitol and put 100 cops in the hospital. And where did we get the tips we were about to be attacked? From our NATO allies.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
Oops, Trump just told our allies in the war on terror to go fuck themselves. You think they're going to pass on intelligence to this pustulant skin tag?
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland have been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, fuck off.
Trump is exposing his weakness and his narcissism to his base. And here's the danger.
I love the poorly educated.
The very gullible and uninformed MAGA love this shit.
And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
And the MAGA base's deep-seated racism will engage with Trump's malignant narcissism and could be the determining factor as to whether we venture into a terror-filled chasm that might take generations to escape. After the Iranian Revolution in 1979, I was living in D.C. and met hundreds of Persians. They all admired us and wanted to be here. And in the last 45 years, they've contributed greatly. And here we are again with an opportunity to act like the grown-up in the room and not the spoiled 5-year-old waving a gun.
Goddamn right.
Do you have no shame?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.